It is back, yes, ERU, where we round up the biggest results and talking points, is back for the second episode of the new season. You're watching Doogie Critchley and Henry Hill. Henry, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Good to be back with you, Doogie. We've been apart for a number of weeks now on various holidays, but no, I'm very good, thank you. Exactly. And actually, you know what? I've just got back from my trip last week, and all my housemates have gone on holiday, which is a good thing, because it means I have full control over the TV, which allows me to watch Roma versus Salernitana on a Sunday, which, believe it or not, is not something that my housemates would sanction if they were all here too, and maybe fairly so after a pretty dire second half. But yes, I'm thrilled football's back. How are you, Dukes? How are you excited for Sunderland?
Absolutely, yeah. Sunderland were 2-0 up at the weekend against QPR, but conceded a 92nd minute equaliser to QPR's goalkeeper. We were going to go top of the league, so that was a bit of a disaster, but otherwise I am good. I was watching the Roma highlights this morning. It looked like Zaniolo was getting in great positions, but just not quite finding the finishing touch.
Just honestly, that you can see why Jose Mourinho might be tempted at a little. If someone waves a bit of cash in front of them for Zaniolo, he had so many good chances to score. Dybala too, the goalie for Salernitana, made a decent save. I mean, listen, it's early days. They can definitely, that trident could be super exciting. But Zaniolo, come on, man. I'd also just like to point out quickly, Doogie beat me in the draft this week. Our teams went head-to-head, and he narrowly scraped a 5-point victory against me, mainly because I left Walker Peters on the bench. I'm very upset about this. But yeah, Doogie, congratulations on that victory this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, I did see that. Koulibaly popping up with a crucial 6 points or so for me in that. But let's kick off with our transfer story of the week. And it's Aubameyang to Chelsea. What's going on with this one, Henry?
Yeah, we talked about this a bit on Continental Club this week. If you haven't watched that already, please get over and check that out. Roman de Arquero of La Liga Lowdown, great guest. Really enjoyed what he had to say about Barcelona, based in Barcelona there. And yeah, one of the things we talked about was Aubameyang potentially leaving the club already, with Chelsea very interested. Fabrizio Romano almost confirming these reports that they're in for him too. So, you know, looks pretty good there. 33-year-old Gabonese international. I think this would be a perfect move for Chelsea. I really do. We saw this weekend that, Sterling still yet to find his feet. Havertz, I don't think, is the man who's going to score them 10, 15 goals a season, in all honesty, this season. They do need an out-and-out forward. Why not make it Aubameyang? Knows how to play under Tuchel too. He reflected on their time together at Dortmund recently. Some players stay your players because you were very, very close, and Alba is one of those players. Clearly, they have a great relationship. I mean, I don't know if Aubameyang had in his mind returning back to London just 6 months after going to Barcelona, but you can't deny that if he did hook up with Tuchel, it could go pretty well. During their 2 seasons together, Aubameyang scored a ridiculous 79 goals in 95 games, winning the DFB Pokal, the Bundesliga Golden Boot, and being named the Bundesliga Player of the Year in 2015-16. So yeah, I mean, they're kind of a match made in heaven, those two, aren't they? And let's face it, Barcelona probably looking to still raise some funds, try and do everything they can to. I mean, they got most of their players registered in the end. I think Jules Koundé was the one that slightly missed the boat on that one. But yeah, if they could get some money for him, why not? I will say, however, from what I've seen from Gerard Romero, the reporting that they're asking for 25 to 28 million euros, that is way too much. That's just Barcelona just trying to not look like they're a selling club, trying to look like they value all their assets, in my opinion. I don't think he's worth that much. But I mean, Dukes, how much would you theoretically pay for a 33-year-old who you might going to get, a good 2 years out of?
Yeah, I think for 2 years you're probably looking at sort of 15 million euros max. Especially, I think you could wangle that with Barcelona, given their financial situation. We're not quite sure whether, with Memphis Depay looking like he's going to join Juventus in the next couple of weeks, whether it's one or the other, whether Xavi would be keen to keep one of them on their books, especially with Ferran Torres being their only sort of out-and-out number 9 in terms of backup to Lewandowski if they got rid of Depay and Aubameyang. But it's important to note that he's performed pretty well for Barcelona. He's got 13 goals and 1 assist in 24 games for the club. And his form last season, particularly in the first few months at the club, was one of the key reasons behind that great run they went on in early 2022 under Xavi. He scored 7 and assisted 1 in his first 7 games for the club. And he is old, as we said. He's 33. He's entering his 15th season as a professional. But in terms of his injury record, it's pretty exemplary. His longest spell out during his career was the 4 games he missed with malaria in 2021, which isn't even an injury issue. That's just a freak bit of bad luck. He's missed 24 games in the last 6 seasons, which for a forward is pretty exceptional. Yeah. And from Chelsea's perspective, as you say, they've lost Lukaku, they've lost Timo Werner. Yesterday they looked a far more sort of coherent pressing side without Lukaku in the side, with Havertz leading the line. But you saw in the second half him failing to tuck away that chance from that excellent Reece James cross as well. What a ball that was. And you just think, as you say, Kai Havertz still got some developing to do. Can you bank on him alone as your out-and-out number 9 when you're trying to challenge on 4 fronts? I'm not totally sure. And of their current players, only Mount with 11 and Havertz with 8 got over 6 league goals last term. Aubameyang, meanwhile, averaged 0.7 expected goals per 90 at Barcelona. Mason Mount was their highest last term on 0.5. So he does add that goal threat, that nous, that sort of footballing intelligence. I think he makes intelligent runs in behind as well. Solid injury record. So I think if they could get this done at this stage of the window, I think it's a pretty effective move as well. But the issue is, would Aubameyang be keen? He talked about joining Barcelona as a dream come true. It was a dream that he sort of created along with his granddad, who sadly passed away, I think, last year or maybe the year before. Does he want to give up on that so soon and be forced out of the club? Especially given the fact he was only paid 2.5 million euros at Barcelona in the back half of last year, which is obviously an enormous amount of money for any normal person. But that was 5 million euros less than he would have earned at Arsenal in the corresponding period. And his wages were supposed to go up incrementally during his time at the club. So would he want to forego that money just to have the option of being a first choice number 9 at Chelsea, having only left Chelsea, or having only left London, I should say, 6-8 months ago, as Henry said. So there's some issues there potentially. I mean, Henry, if you were Aubameyang, would you take being back up to Lewandowski and maybe getting some minutes on the left wing as well, with Ansu Fati's injury record not so good? Or do you think you'd take the opportunity to be the main man at Chelsea?
I just can't see him wanting to leave. I think the Chelsea move makes a lot of sense in many ways. He's a great goal scorer in England. Let's not overlook that. He was pretty exceptional during his time at Arsenal. I kind of echo what Roman said on Continental Club last week. If Barcelona are going to sell Depay, then I think they would be crazy to sell Aubameyang too. He's probably under no illusion that he's number 2 to Lewandowski, but there are minutes to be had in that squad, even if they do have a fairly stacked attack. As you say, Ansu Fati, unfortunately not as reliable as perhaps we hoped at this point. So, yeah, I do think Aubameyang offers something pretty special and great, and could be explosive off the bench if he wanted to stay at Barcelona. But if he has the chance to earn serious minutes, play under a manager he loves at Chelsea, why not take that opportunity? They're going to be fighting on all fronts, as you say. I think they're going to get the top 4 this season. So yeah, I would take Chelsea if the opportunity came, but obviously he has that dream that he wants to fulfill.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm in agreement with you. Barcelona fans, would you be happy to see Aubameyang go? And Chelsea fans, do you want Aubameyang? And if so, what fee would you guys be happy to pay? Let us know in the comments down below. And let's move on to a very spicy result of the week.
Alright, it's time for result of the week. Obviously, we had La Liga back, we had Serie A back, we saw Real Madrid come back against Almeria, Rayo hold Barcelona to a draw, and I think Inter get a last-minute winner against Lecce. Loved the passion from Inzaghi on the touchline with that. Some great managerial action this weekend, I think we can agree, across Europe. Lots of emotion. But for the second week in a row, PSG are our result of the week. 5-2 against Montpellier. This comes from @MadDog33. Looking unbelievable, but maybe a bit of trouble looming in Paradise, Dukes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on the pitch, things are going exceptionally well as they thrash Montpellier 5-2 at home to remain the only side in Liga with a perfect record at this stage of the season. I think it's only them, Man City, Arsenal, Bayern and Dortmund of the sides to have played 2 games that have got 6 points, which is quite crazy at this stage. They didn't get off to the best of starts, PSG, in this game, with Mbappe missing a 23rd minute penalty, a really tame penalty, I thought. That was just his 4th miss in 21 attempts in Liga from the spot. But they soon eased to victory with Neymar scoring a brace, Mbappe flicking in at the back post, and Renato Sanchez tucking in Nuno Mensch's cross with his first touch in a PSG shirt. Love it when that happens. Galtier will be slightly disappointed with the 2 goals they conceded. Donnarumma pushed a near post shot into the path of former Sunderland winger Wabi Kazri, and then got beaten at his near post by Chateau Mbaye after Kimpembe failed to track his run. But the bigger storyline, as is so often the case with PSG, is sort of rumbling off the pitch, as it were. Journalist Romain Molina claimed that Neymar and Mbappe have had a massive falling out because the Frenchman asked the PSG board to supposedly sell Neymar this summer. Neymar found out, and unsurprisingly, it's created a huge problem. So on Saturday, when Mbappe's penalty was saved, and PSG then won another penalty, Mbappe looked for the ball, wanted the ball, Neymar refused to give it to him, tucked away the penalty, and Mbappe just was in a bit of a strop for the rest of the game, to be honest. Didn't celebrate his goal, gave up on one of his runs after his, I think it was Vitinha, failed to find him, and just generally acted like a moody teenager. So it really wasn't a very impressive, mature display from Mbappe, but it does seem like there are some issues behind the scenes. But Neymar has also reacted by liking a series of anti-Mbappe tweets after the game, which wasn't very mature either. So Henry, do you think this is going to cause a bit of a problem going forward?
I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone assumed Neymar would be playing the way he is at the moment. I don't think it was in the script that this was going to be his year. It looked very much like the tide had turned in Mbappe's favour in terms of the power dynamic at the club. But really, Neymar's been the best player perhaps in Europe in the last few weeks. Other than De Bruyne, etc. Neymar's just been unbelievable, looking like everything you'd ever hope him to be. Creative, happy, selfless at times, selfish when he needs to be. I think he's just been magical, and along with Messi as well, we were waxing lyrical about them last week. He's been incredible, and it is, if Mbappe throwing his toys out the pram, quite frankly, you saw him sort of, someone failed to pass to him, he just stopped moving at one point in the match. I mean, you just can't do that. I don't care who you are, I don't care how much you're paid, what they've promised you, what powers you've been given. You can't do that. And I think Neymar needs to play this sensibly here. Liking tweets, etc. is really, really silly. But I mean, the penalty issue could be fixed pretty quickly. As you say, Gautier looks like he's rushing to address the situation. He was questioned about it afterwards, and he said, for this match, the order was chosen thus. Kylian shot first, so it was logical that Neymar went next. We'll see in the future. So clearly they'll put a structure in place, but knowing how these stars operate, if one player grabs the ball, it might be difficult. But then we saw L'Equipe journalist Loic Tanzi tweet over the weekend that Neymar and Mbappe will accompany each other with Gautier and Luis Campos at the forefront to hash out any misunderstandings, to move quickly on from the situation. I'll believe that when I see it. And Neymar's going nowhere fast. No one's going to be buying him at the moment. I mean, they want like 50, 60 million euros for him. His wages are astronomical, even by Premier League standards. 30 years old, not a great injury record, let's be honest. But don't get me wrong, I think he'd be an amazing asset to almost every club, but it's just difficult to see who can take him on at the moment. So, yeah, as we said, amazing form. 3 goals, 3 assists in 2 games thus far. 4 shots, 4 key passes, 5 dribbles and 3 tackles at the weekend. He's always had a really good defensive work rate, which I've kind of rated about Neymar. He's kind of gone under the radar a little bit. I mean, even in pre-season, he was crushing it as well. But this is just, if you're a PSG fan, though, this is so frustrating because they are looking excellent, aren't they? They are looking truly brilliant. They're sort of 3-4-3, 3-4-1-2, whatever you want to call it. 10 goals, 2 conceded in 2 games, already 2 points clear. They do have some bigger games coming up. Lille away on Saturday, who have made a good start under Fonseca, and then Monaco too, who are struggling a little bit with draws. But so there are going to be greater challenges coming up. But PSG are looking so good right now. You really don't want this to be a destabilising factor. I mean, Dukes, how do you reckon you sort this kind of situation out?
Yeah, I think you've got to be quite firm, to be honest. And Gautier and Luis Campos have been known in the past to sort of not really take any issues from players and try and sort it out quite quickly. I think they've already stamped their authority on this squad quite effectively. They've changed the formation, and players seem to be responding to it really well. I think Messi and Neymar cut short their holidays to return to PSG early, and this formation just seems to really suit their players. But it's going to be difficult. Like, these are 3 enormous stars, 3 of the most well-paid and most talked about players in the game right now. 3 enormous egos trying to orbit in the same space, and this is almost inevitable. But if you want to have a successful PSG side this year, you do need to sort out this issue I mean, everyone's going to want to take the penalties. I'm surprised that Messi is third choice, seemingly, to take penalties. I know his record's been up and down over the past, 10 years or so, but I definitely get him on pens over potentially Mbappe. Neymar's a pretty cool penalty taker, it has to be said. But yeah, you need to stamp your authority on this issue, because you cannot have yet another season sort of underlying, having some underlying issues there. But I would say that PSG's start to the season doesn't reflect particularly well on Pochettino, it's got to be said. Galtier, excellent start, and the players seem to be responding to his methods. So impressive stuff from him so far.
Absolutely. All right, let us know what you think of the PSG situation. What do you think of Galtier's start as PSG manager? I'm not sure many were expecting this. Anyway, we'll move on to our Star of the Week.
As Henry said, it's time for everyone's favourite section. It's Star of the Week. And this one came in from @SkinScud, and it's Brahim Diaz. But there was another chance, another opportunity for someone else, Henry, that we need to give some credit to.
Yeah, I feel bad. Second week in a row, Jamal Musiala has almost got the Star of the Week. Poor guy. What does he need to do? Scoring against Bayern's win over Wolfsburg. Now it's 3 league goals in 2 games. We were very excited about him last week. Continue to be so this time. However, I think it's great. Brahim Diaz, that's who we've gone for AC Milan. He helped their sort of title defence get off to a perfect start with a goal and an assist in a slightly chaotic 4-2 win over Udinese on Saturday. We all predicted them to win on Continental Club. I'm not sure we expected 4-2. And, Diaz was excellent. If you think about it, him and Rebic, who was the other star of the team, they didn't really feature a whole lot in their title run last year. So to get those two back on song is really great. It's excellent for AC Milan, who are going to need all the bodies they can possibly get in what's going to be an incredibly tight Serie A title race this season. But yeah, played a part in all 4 goals. Set up Rebic for the final one. I really like the performance that we saw from Diaz at the moment, and as you said last season, he'll be slightly disappointed to have finished with 3 goals and 3 assists in 31 league games. So to get 2 off the bounce in the first game this season is really excellent. He was all over the pitch, working incredibly hard, and yeah, I mean, it looks good for Milan. I didn't expect them to win this first game by 4 goals. Not even their typical forwards getting off the mark. It's setting up to be another great year for the Rossoneri, isn't it, Dukes?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right to say that it wasn't probably a vintage performance. They, looked a little bit scrappy at times. It wasn't flowing as well as at points last year, but that's inevitable in the opening few weeks of the season. I wouldn't be too worried by that. They only conceded 2 league goals in their final 11 league games of last season. So to match that already, a little bit disappointing. Udinese had their fair amount of chances as well. I think they had 9 shots with 4 on target, but they weren't particularly high quality. Only created 0.4 XG. Milan, meanwhile, created 2.7. So a pretty deserved win. And as you say, Brahim Diaz was central to it. I thought he picked up some excellent positions, showed a lot of tenacity at points as well, and some excellent touches. His sort of technique has always been there. It's just been about getting that consistency in terms of goals and assists. And he looks to have responded to, some big incomings over the summer. Charles de Ketelaere's come in. They're still linked with Hakim Ziyech. They'll probably get a right winger at some stage. Like, the competition for places is really high. And also, as you say, nice to see Rebic getting his opportunity and taking it as well. Really disappointing last year. Zlatan's still not fully fit. Neither is Origi, off the back of a. I think he's had an injury in pre-season, Origi, but he's just not quite fully fit yet. Henry and McCubs were pretty keen on that signing when it went through. I was a little bit less sort of wowed by it, but fair enough. Another useful pickup for Milan, but let's see how they do. But yeah, Brahim Diaz needs to maintain this form with CDK coming into the squad. He can obviously play as a 10, he can play on the right wing, he can play as a striker. And you imagine, having spent that outlay on him, he might be eased into it due to his age. But by the end of the season, you imagine he'll be taking up the majority of minutes. So there's now serious competition for places at the back, in midfield, and up front for Milan. So it does bode well for another title challenge this year. I'm excited to see what Juve do against Sassuolo tonight. And Inter, probably not at their best against Lecce either. Stefan de Vrij sort of making a little mistake for the first goal as well. Handanovic forced into a number of good saves as well. He's under pressure this year with Onana coming in. So let's see what happens there. But guys, that is all we've got time for on ERU for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If they want to watch another Football Daily video, Henry, what would you recommend they go and watch?
Go check out our Explained on the Shakhtar Donetsk situation over in Ukraine. Really fascinating look at why they're suing FIFA for 50 million euros. I feel very sorry for them. And they basically lost out on lots of money. It's a tale of agents sort of deceiving clubs taking advantage of the situation. So yeah, please go check that out on EFD Explained if you haven't already.
Nice, and why don't you go check out Saturday's Stat Wars as well, episode 2. It was Joe versus Zach. Not a particularly high quality episode from what I can remember as well, but a lot of fun as ever. Go check that out. Thank you very much for watching, guys. We'll catch you later in the week. Goodbye.